Grow My Cleaning Company teaches owners of cleaning companies just like you how to grow your company, make more money, and finally take charge of your financial future and your life. This podcast is about automating and creating systems that give you time and money freedom so you can grow like crazy without losing control. Since this is totally free, if you're getting tons of value, want to support us and make sure that you get more of the good stuff, subscribe, rate, and review to this podcast today. Now, on to the show. Hey, Cleaning Nation. So excited to have you here. We have got my hairy friend, Brad Elias, on the call with me. I think we should start, and this is going to be a bummer for all the podcast folks, but let's start with that mustache. Please let me sleep at night and tell me it took like a year to grow that, and you didn't grow that over like 3.5 days.
No, not 3.5 days. Usually about a month.
Okay, that makes me. You give me a lifetime, I couldn't grow that mustache, but a month at least makes me feel like I've got a fighting chance. All right. So just in case you did not tune in to hear about Brad's facial hair abilities and time frames, let's talk owners of cleaning companies. So Brad's elite member. I think you've graduated now, have you not?
Yeah.
All right. So he's old. He's smart. He knows everything. And he just had a super cool story. And my favorite thing, because I feel like I talk and I rant and I try and give as much as I can. And I think you guys obviously get some value from it, but there's also just some level of, yeah, but, or I don't know, or Mike doesn't get it. So it's always more fun to have guys and gals that are kicking butt and taking names, like share their story on their own. So, like, we got old guys, young guys, women, men, guys, gals, just starting, kind of everybody. So Brad fits in that. Hey, Christina Jocelyn, good to see you, sister. A long time friend of the show. Love that girl. All right, so let's start, Brad, with how you got in the business. Walk us back. How long you been in? How'd you go from, civilian to owner of a cleaning company?
Well, so it's been like just a year now, a year and like a month. And I moved to a small town, and I've been a chef my whole life. And moving here, there wasn't many opportunity. And I went in and out of a bunch of different jobs out here, construction, working at the hospital, working in a restaurant. And I just started cleaning houses on the weekend. And for some reason, that just jumped off to, within a week, making a business, making a name, owning the business, and then just grew from there. I worked part-time at the hospital while building the company. And then after 2 months of working at the hospital and cleaning, I just went straight into cleaning. And then joined the program in February, I think, or March. And then now I'm here.
I love that story for a lot of reasons. I am, for good and for bad sometimes, depending on the day, I'm a big, let's just do this. And I love that Brad's like, yeah, I started cleaning for a little bit of fun. And then a couple weeks later, that was my thing. And 2 months later, I quit, effectively just quit my job and started cleaning. So when you quit, had you already replaced your hospital income, or were you just like, I'm betting on myself?
I hadn't replaced it fully, but I replaced it enough to not have to do it. I made it so I was able to make enough money to live. I didn't like working at the hospital. I didn't enjoy it by any means. So as soon as I had enough money to live without going there, I pulled the plug and moved full time into cleaning.
Okay, so you'd made 50, 60, 70% of your income. Some percentage, you're like, I can live on this. It's not going to replace it, but I'm going to go hungry. So there's a little bit of taking a risk, but not the huge risk of I'm homeless if this doesn't work out kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So when you came to us, you were, because it's only been a couple months, you were 10 months into your business, give or take?
Well, when I first came to you guys, I talked to you with that mastermind call or whatever it was, and you talked to me, and I was just looking at how to bid and basically and that was a month after starting the business. Wow. And you're like, go to the YouTube and watch the videos. Everything you're asking will be in there. So then I did that, and then I reached out to you guys again in February, March, and then got onto the program.
And I do want to, one of the very, very few times I'm ever trying to pat ourselves on the back, but I do want you guys to know, Cleaning Nation, we are really selective about who we work with, and we really do everything we can to give as much value to the community as possible. So I do want to encourage you, for any of you guys that want to jump on with one of our coaches or whatever, we are much, much, much more interested in figuring out where you are, getting clear on where you want to be, and helping you get there. And if we think we are the best fit, you're daggum right. We're going to tell you like, hey, we need to work together. And if we don't, we will absolutely try our best to be like, hey, this is the direction for you right now. So just want to say that because I think a lot of times people are afraid like, oh, if I get on, they're going to try and sell me something. And we have, I don't know, 300.
You try not to sell it to us.
Well, it depends on what you want. Like I'm not cagey. If I would have thought at the time, like we absolutely were the best solution for you, I'd have been the first guy to be like, dude, Brad, quit fooling around. Let's light this cake. You got to go. But if I didn't feel like that, obviously that's not the case. So anyway, all that to say, yeah, we want to help first and all that second. Vanita says, miss you guys, was hospitalized for 2 months with COVID. So sorry, sister. Glad to have you back. Hopefully you're feeling well. All right. So I love that story because I didn't even remember that because I talked to so many people. And now that you're talking, I'm like, I remember that, Brad Elias, but I didn't, because when we spoke, I didn't get to see you. So when I met you, because when we do our coaching calls, I get to see them. So I obviously I'm not going to memorize your voice. I didn't know it was the same Brad until just now. So now I'm like, that guy. And let me, again, we're giving lots of, Brad says cheers from the great white north. My Canadians are my favorite people to pick on. Yeah. So, gosh, there's so much unpacked in there. So a couple of things I'm loving about Brad. One, I like the fast, like I just had a couple jobs and it worked. And within a couple months, that was my thing. Second, I love that he immediately was like, hey, I want to go faster. Who can I get to help? Third, a lot of guys, if I was like, hey, I don't think we're fit right now, here's some other coaching to go do, would have been like, screw that. If you won't let me in I'm out. Like, and I love that you were coachable. I'm like, okay, I called the guy for feedback. He gave me feedback. You took that advice and hopefully that got you to some next level of your business. And then you were actually ready. That's all coachability, right? I could have given that same coaching to thousands of other people and gotten a very different response. So what made you kind of be coachable? Why didn't you just go, well, screw that guy. If he's not going to help me now, like he's just going to tell me to go like do some more work, I'm out. Like how'd you not have an attitude?
So in my background of like running restaurants, systems I know are like the biggest benefit to anything. And so when I saw some podcasts from you guys and going through the website, I knew that you guys had the ability to teach me how to use systems properly in cleaning. And so I didn't really know where to look right away. So I figured, if I just join this program, I'll get the answers. And then when you're like, oh yeah, well, we have all those answers that you're looking for right now on our YouTube, on our podcasts. So I just started downloading the podcasts and listening to them as I cleaned. And as I got through those and implemented those, I knew there was more to it. And then so I just was eager to keep growing because what I learned on the podcasts and videos taught me stuff so quickly. I was like, man, if I can just get to that next step in a program, who knows what I'll be, in the next 6 months. And now I just went through all my profitability charts this morning, and my next goal is this close.
Man, you're lucky you're way over there. I'd give you a big hug. That makes my whole heart happy, dude. All right, so let's I want to give as much value to the listeners as possible. So because we've got, we get people all over the road, guys and gals that are like, this is my first ever podcast. I don't know Mike, I don't know Brad, this all is very confusing. And we've got guys and gals who are like, I've listened to every podcast. So for those that are kind of at the front end, right, this is their first, second, third, 10th podcast, as a guy, before we get into the program, let's just talk about the podcast. Give us the big summary. So those are like, man, I don't know if I have time to listen to all 500 podcasts. What's the big kind of takeaway you got just from the podcast stuff?
I started with how to bid, and then I worked into just going through, because on the YouTube channel, they're all put into categories. So anything you're looking for, like I was looking at like how to hire, how do you know when to hire, just questions I was thinking of. I just went in there and saw if there was a video, and like 90% of the time there was something in there related to a question I had, whether it was bidding, hiring, how to stop cleaning and start owning. And so all those things that I'm sure everybody thinks of are all in there. And I see all those questions in the Facebook group all the time, and people go, there's videos, they put links to all the videos. To basically any question you can think of, there's something in there for you.
All right, and I'm challenging you, Cleaning Nation. We've done over 500 videos. So when Brad says 90% of the time there's an answer, if you find that 10%, I had a question about growing my cleaning, you email support at Grow My Cleaning Company and said, Mike said on the podcast, we covered everything. You didn't cover this. Would love to hear it. Hey, Liz Day from Grass Valley, California. Good to have you, sister. All right, so I love that. So in the podcast, as opposed to feeling like, hey, I've got to absorb all 500 episodes. You're like, I'll just find the place where they're kind of organized by topic, and I'll just go through the topic I want today. That's good advice for guys and gals wanting to learn stuff. That's a very effective way to learn. Not that, starting at episode 1 and going through 500. I mean, holy heck, that would be a time commitment. But I think it might make a little more sense. And also the stuff that you learn, you hear differently. So when you're hiring, if you're not hiring, you hear a video on hiring, you're going to get one piece of it and it's not going to make sense. But when you're like, okay, I've actually got an employer, I'm going to hire my employer and do my first interview, you might hear a whole different thing. So would you agree that like the timing has a difference in terms of it's not just the content, it's you and where you're at with the content?
Yeah, because I've definitely skimmed through, like when I was watching the hiring ones, I wasn't hiring. I was just like, trying to get some idea for when it came. And if it's not something you're doing at the time, you're definitely skimming. Whereas if it's something you're looking to do right now, you're watching the video 3 or 4 times, you're listening to the video on the podcast, and doing it multiple times to pick it all up.
Perfect. And again, guys, gals, this is the reason I have guys like Brad on, is these are the best of the best. Like I was mentioning, we get 200, 300, 400 calls a month of people wanting in or wanting help, and we will take 10 or 20. So when they've graduated the program, they're the best of the best. So that hopefully you're getting this mindset of, when I was looking to do the thing that was in the podcast, I didn't just casually listen to it. I listened to it 3 or 4 times. I took notes. I needed to hear it. And this is what, like, all these characteristics he's talking about in terms of, I started quick. I immediately went to get help. When I got help, maybe it wasn't exactly the answer I was hoping for, but I said, I listened to the coaching and I did it. And then I came back. And these are, again, here's where I'm not going to pat myself on the back. This type of person that you're listening to is going to be super successful with or without us. So it makes me happy to give you some supercharge and help you go the further faster and save you a bunch of brain damage. But when I hear the stuff that you're saying, I'm like, Brad's going to be fine, right? The thing that drives me nuts is the people that desperately need our help and would not succeed without us because they don't listen anyway. The guys like Brad that are going to be fine either way, it's almost like, I don't want to say you don't need us, but you're the one, if I had, you know what I'm saying? It drives me nuts that the people that need it don't take it, and the people that take it are the ones that don't need it as much. It's always the way. The smart guys, the rich guys, the successful guys get the most help. The people that need the most help are like, nah, I got this. So you're just oozing like, this is the way to build a business. All right, so let's talk when you first came to us. Cleaning some, all, none. Where were you at that in that piece of your business?
Oh, cleaning all.
All. Okay.
And I had jobs just to like have jobs.
Okay, so not only cleaning all, maybe not even making all that much money on some of the cleaning you were doing.
Yeah, and some of them would, like, I did like cleaning and event takedown and setup and like all these like random things.
Okay, and that was when you found the podcast, or is that when you started the program?
That's when I first started cleaning, and then when I started the program, I trimmed all the loose hairs and focused on properly cleaning.
Okay, so but even when you started, you were still doing 100% of the cleaning.
Yeah.
Cool. Fast forward to now, and was it 2-3 months? I don't know how long it's been.
Since I started the program, or since I ended?
Since you started. We'll give it since you started.
Basically like 10 weeks ago.
Okay, and it's a 9-week program. If we just started, yeah, okay. So 2-3 months ago, what kind of, are you doing some of the cleaning, all the cleaning, none of the cleaning? What's changed? What stayed the same? What did you like? What did you hate? Talk to us.
So still doing all of the cleaning, but I'm currently interviewing and running hiring ads and doing all that to remove myself from the cleaning.
So what was the big thing that helped you move from when you started, like, I gotta clean everything, to now going, okay, I've got I'm willing, because obviously we can give you the system, but that's, you got to be willing to do it, right? A lot of guys and gals get scared and they don't take the action, in which case the systems might as well not even have it. So what changed in your kind of mind or heart that you're like, I can do this, I can make this work?
Knowing that I make enough money to hire an employee, because I figured if, say, a part-time employee makes $20,000 a year, then I was like, okay, well then for me to make money, I have to now make $50,000 a year to pay an employee. But with all the tracking systems I learned and putting in all my accounts and stuff, one, I learned I was profitable enough to hire, and two, I knew that when I did hire, I would still make money for myself, keep money in the business, and be able to now, I know once I have an employee, I'll be able to fast track the growth so quickly because I'm not going to be cleaning all day coming home, doing Facebook ads, doing payroll, doing invoicing. I know from the get-go I'll be running ads and doing meetings and everything. So I'm just like, I'm super stoked to get an employee or two on board.
Yeah, and it's funny because there's the mental part, which you just went over, and there's also the emotional part of once you get to the point, because I don't say it's easy, but it's relatively easy to kind of pack yourself with a 40-hour week clean, right? And that for most people, depending on what part of the country or city you're in, what country you're in, that's about a $4,000 a month cap for you. And that's gross. You'd be lucky if you keep 80-90% of that, because even though you're doing the cleaning, there's not no expenses, there's just less expenses.
Yeah.
And you're cleaning all the time and working all the time. So you're cleaning 40 hours a week, you're working 80 hours a week. It's miserable and you can't make any more money. So
Yeah.
that happens. When that happens, you're like, emotionally, when someone's like, hey, you want to give me a bid? You're like, no, I don't. When will I stop? Well, I gotta not sleep. Like, I have no time. Yeah. So awesome. So before, it sounds like you weren't really clear on the financial side in terms of what would that need to look like. Can I clean? Am I priced right? Am I going to be growing an unprofitable business? And now you've moved to like, okay, so were you not profitable and you discovered how to make it profitable, or were you profitable but you just didn't know you were profitable?
Yeah, so I didn't know I was, and I ended up being. Because when you were saying before you hire, make sure you're profitable, or else nothing's gonna work. And I put in all my numbers. I was like, wow, okay. There's one that's like a little bit not that profitable, but I end up being everything I have is pretty good. That I didn't have to make any major changes to be able to be profitable. It was profitable right from the get-go.
Which
Luckily,
is honestly, just to brag on Brad for 2 seconds. That's, I mean, having put hundreds and hundreds of people through that program, 25% of the people are in that boat where they're like, yeah, it was profitable, I just didn't know it. Like, most of the time, they're not profitable and they didn't know it, that's terrifying, right? When you're profitable and you don't know it, that's going to put up some roadblocks. Like Brad was like, I'm afraid to hire. I'm afraid, you couldn't go forward from lack of knowledge, but at least you weren't going to starve. Being not profitable and not knowing it, that's a real, that'll put you out of business. Hey, Christina, she said not cleaning rocks. So you'll, now you're in the alumni group, you have to connect with Christina, who I believe when we met was cleaning, and I'm pretty sure she's done and done. She better be, or I'll yell at her in the alumni group. All right. So the confidence from knowing your numbers, huge. And not just the confidence, like that's an emotional, like it feels better, but the ability to now make decisions, right? Because you're like, that was big. What was the hardest thing we asked you to do that you fought me the most on? And did you do it or did you not do it?
Still is the prospect surveys that we have to do. During COVID, it was hard to even get a hold of anybody. But it took, I don't know, probably took 3 weeks to even make the first phone call. But then I started making them. I've done a few, haven't completed any of the surveys, but reached out to people and been still typical and making phone calls.
All right. So I don't know what just happened. For the first time I've ever done this, the broadcast just stopped going right in the middle of Brad's amazing answer. And now we're back live again. So I've never had that happen. But that little 30 seconds might be lost for history forever. I don't know what happened or how it happened, but we'll see if we can paste this thing back together for the edit and everyone that we lost live. I'm so sorry. All right. So we're kind of actually running at the end anyway, but I'm just going to give you free reign. What's the best advice you've got from guys, gals just starting cleaning? Give us the good and the bad. What's the biggest thing? Like, if you could do this would be the biggest thing I'd recommend. And if you could stop doing that, that's the biggest thing. Talk to me about that. And hello, Denise. Welcome back to our podcast, our broadcast that started and then stopped. You came in for the good part. Brad's just about to tell us the number one thing he would stop and the number one thing he would start.
The biggest thing I would give advice on is don't take jobs just to think you're making money. Like, don't add on things that you don't normally do. Don't add on jobs that you've never done before just to make more money. Just stick with one thing, be good at it, and go from there. And just know that you're good, and don't take jobs that either aren't profitable or that you don't enjoy doing. And
right, hold on, let me give a follow up to that one, because that's easy to get, right? No one listening is like, I don't understand, I'm not clear. They get it. And hey, Bev from the UK, good to have you, and Tara from Ohio. So I get the mental part, the emotional part's a hard one. So what do you say to the people? Because you were there, right? Where you're like, because I get people all the time like, oh, Mike, you don't understand. I'm going to go do 3 hours of work and make $400 or something like that. How do you tell that part of your brain or your body or your mind to shut up and listen?
The only way I know how to do that now is from doing it, really. Um, a lot of times you start doing stuff just because you think it's the proper way to do it. And a lot of people ask, how do you build a job? How do you know how to do it properly? It's like, for me, you had to make that mistake and then just, have that internal voice in your head and be like, okay, I realize that that's right. And just kind of do it step by step and try your best to listen to that internal voice.
That's a writer downer, guys, gals. If I'm listening, I'll give you the 3 big points I've gotten from Brad. First of all, implement fast, right? He could have thought about it, talked about it. I got to do this. I got to get my LLC and pick my office furniture. A couple weeks he's in. As soon as he had it, and I love that you're like, I didn't replace my income. I just had enough money to not starve, and I quit. Like, so he kind of went quick and went all in. That would be the first thing. Second thing is, holy crap, the coachability, right? It's one thing to be a part of this community and get all the stuff that's helped thousands of people grow their businesses, completely worthless if you do nothing. So there's that. So that'd be the second thing is coachability. And the third is just do it. I love that. Like, we could talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and you'll get some value. But until you've made that mistake, sometimes you just can't get it. And I love, our job's not to keep your life mistake free. It's not possible, but to just tell you, hey, here's what's going to happen if you turn that corner, and you turn that corner and it happens. You're like, well, that kind of hurt. Sometimes you just have to do that. So I love that Brad's kind of like, yeah, I do it. If it's got to get done, I do it. All right. So that's the big thing to do is that was the thing to stop doing, right? Is to stop taking jobs that aren't profitable in your wheelhouse just for the quick buck. What's the biggest thing you would start doing right away?
The biggest thing I would start doing is just start doing. If you have that company or that business that you've been looking to call or want to call, just call them, because it'll all, like when I did it as soon as you do it, you're like, oh my God, that was so easy. And I either got a bid in or I got a new job. But sitting around and contemplating all day, like I did at the beginning, isn't going to get you anywhere. You just got to start making those calls. Even if you mess them up, you're going to get more confident and feel better the next time, and it'll only get easier.
And we always think there's going to be this one call situation where if I call, what if I screw up or whatever? It's like every relationship we have is 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 calls. So we put all this pressure on the first call, and it's like, same with this broadcast. Like, we've done over 500, and I'm sure some have been great, and some have been like, not your best work, Mike. But we don't know which is which until I keep doing them. So the consistency is, if I just said I've got to get everything to everybody in one podcast and that's it would be insane. And I just planned to have that one podcast would be great for 10 years, and I finally put it out. Guess what? It wouldn't be perfect. Or I could just be like, I'm just going to keep broadcasting and doing the best that I can, coaching all day, every day, the best I can, and get better. So be the same way. Don't be afraid. Real quick before we end it, we've got to do numbers. How are you doing? You don't have to, you can be as specific or general as you want, but just as a percentage at least, are you up in profit, up in revenue, down? Hopefully, God forbid, you're down in either of those, or the same. Like, give us an idea of that.
Right now, I'm growing consistently. I'm getting new jobs or new opportunities to bid on jobs almost a couple times a week, and a lot of them are reaching out to me. So I'm on steady growth right now.
Which is, honest to goodness, guys, gals, that's what we're looking for, is to transition from chasing, begging, like, hey, please, can I give you a bid, to getting the right people. And hopefully that's in there. It's not just a bunch of the wrong people, that whole don't take the wrong job just to make money. Sounds like you're getting the right, and I'm sure you're getting some of those. It's not like that's going to go to zero, but not counting those, we're still getting a couple good opportunities of the right customers reaching out to us for an opportunity to bid every week, hopefully in some sort of systematized way. That's not, doesn't sound like Brad's out there hustling or beating the streets. Is that correct, or am I totally putting words in your mouth?
Yeah. It's a lot of them are. I don't even know. When I go meet them, I try to find out how they heard of me. But a lot of it is just word of mouth and just the content I put on Facebook.
We will talk about how to make sure where everyone comes from. Different subject, different day, because we're done. All right. Any last words for Cleaning Nation, Brad?
Just go get them.
If I could say it better, I would, but I can't. So we're going with that. Go get them, Cleaning Nation. Talk to you soon. Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you're fired up, ready to grow, and want to see if you have what it takes to work with us at Grow My Cleaning Company, here's what I want you to do right now. Go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. That's growmycleaningcompany.com/talk to book an appointment to speak with me personally. I'm going to jump on the phone with you to get you crystal clear on where you are now, where you want to be, and how to get you there. Don't walk around in the dark any longer. If you are serious about growing your cleaning company, it's time to finally get the systems in place that you need to grow. We've helped hundreds of owners of cleaning companies not only grow their business and their personal freedom, but give back to their community as well. If that's what you're looking for, head over to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk and book a time to talk with me personally. I can't wait to get to know you and your business.